Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak today. I sit here not as a clinician, researcher or advocate by profession, but simply as a mother, as someone who has spent 16 years living beside a disease that never sleeps. My son Max is 26 years old. He has drug-resistant epilepsy. Despite taking 10 anti-seizure medications every day, epilepsy dictates his life. But it doesn't just affect the person having the seizure, it consumes entire families. It forces us to live with a question that never disappears. Will the next seizure be the one that they don't survive? That question has lived in our home for 16 years. To understand why this inquiry matters, I want to take you back to where our journey began. Max was 10 years old when he woke me in the middle of the night crying. He was drenched in sweat, shaking uncontrollably, and had wet the bed. His heart was racing. He couldn't stand. He was confused, dribbling, mumbling, and terrified. He kept saying, "Mum, I think I'm going to die." We had no idea that he had just suffered his first tonic-clonic seizure. Neither did he. The next day he could barely function. His shoulder had dislocated during the seizure. He had a crushing headache, overwhelming exhaustion, and no memory of what had happened. That night changed everything. From that moment on, epilepsy quietly took hold of his life. At school, Max experienced frequent staring episodes. Teachers believed he was daydreaming and criticised him for not paying attention. None of us realised that those daydreams were actually seizures. Instead of receiving treatment, he carried the burden of being misunderstood. Looking back, one of our greatest heartbreaks is knowing that the symptoms of epilepsy were mistaken for poor behaviour. This misunderstanding cost him 7 years of diagnosis and treatment. We were told by our GP that he had Alice in Wonderland syndrome. At 16, Max got his learner's licence. Like every teenager, driving represented such a sense of freedom, independence and adulthood. Unknowingly, he completed 60 hours behind the wheel whilst living with undiagnosed epilepsy. When I think about that now, it horrifies me. Then everything changed one cold morning in the Queensland bush when Max was 17. Sitting beside a scout campfire before dawn, he collapsed into a tonic-clonic seizure. By chance, another scout was training as a paramedic and she recognised the seizure immediately and called 000. Max's epilepsy was not diagnosed because the system worked. It was diagnosed because chance intervened. Only then did we begin our journey with a neurologist. We believed at the time that the hardest part was over, but it wasn't. It was just the beginning. At his first appointment, Max was prescribed Keppra. Like many people with epilepsy, seizure control came at a devastating cost. The medication triggered severe mood changes, explosive rage, and we watched our son disappear beneath side effects that he simply could not control. What followed was an endless cycle of medication changes, dosage adjustments and failed combinations. The seizures continued, the side effects accumulated, our family life changed completely. Every decision was shaped by risk. Holidays disappeared, relationships were strained, financial pressure mounted as we paid for specialists, travel, treatments, therapies. On it goes. We never ever had any certainty. Some of the most terrifying moments happened far from home. Whilst travelling in Thailand, Max experienced 2 tonic-clonic seizures and we watched helplessly as our son convulsed and lost consciousness in a foreign country. Yet, despite everything, Max has refused to let epilepsy define him. He moved to Brisbane to build an independent life, find work and access public transport. Like many young Australians, he wanted the opportunity to contribute and build a future, but epilepsy has followed him. He has lost employment after seizures and post-ictal confusion caused mistakes at work. Seriously, epilepsy is an invisible disability. People do not see the memory loss, the cognitive fatigue, the anxiety that accompanies every aura, the words that disappear mid-sentence, or the exhausting effort required simply to appear normal. This is the reality of epilepsy. The risks are constant. The consequences are lifelong. There was the night that Max had a seizure in a taxi on the way home. The driver not understanding what was happening threw him out of the cab on the Pacific motorway at 2 a.m. More recently, while travelling alone in Melbourne, Max had a seizure and found himself on St Kilda Beach with no idea how he got there. He managed to navigate his way back to the city only to find his bag and phone lying between tram tracks. Instead of compassion, he was reprimanded for his negligence and the risk that he had apparently created. I would like you to spend one ordinary day living inside my son's mind. I wake up certain of only 2 things. I survived the night and I'm still alive. That's a good start. Before anything else, I take My 5 drugs. Routine isn't a choice, it's survival. I pack my lunches last night because money is tight. I cook my breakfast, I get ready for work. I'm trying to live independently like every other 26-year-old, then I have a seizure. It's only a focal seizure, but there's no such thing as only a seizure. I'm not okay. I pick up my gym bag. I walk outside in my undies. I'm going to work, aren't I? Then I realise I'm locked out. Shit, the confusion crashes over me. Did anyone see me? Damn, my breakfast is burning on the stove. Now I'm late for work again. 15, maybe 20 minutes of my life have disappeared, post-ictal brain fog. Nothing makes sense. Another piece of my memory is gone, and I can't prove any of it. I can't explain it. I can't justify it, because saying I had a seizure doesn't carry much weight in the real world. My work suffers. My reputation suffers. People think I'm making excuses. Some think I'm lying. Little by little, my confidence disappears. But I look healthy. I look strong. You can't see what's happening inside my brain, so I keep going and I try harder. I smile, I become a people pleaser, because if I work harder, maybe no one will notice. What they don't know is that I've already had 3 or 4 auras today. That feeling that another seizure might be coming. Do I hide in the bathroom? Do I tell someone? What do I even say? I forget to tell Mum and Dad I've had 2 seizures and I'm at work. I can't just call them. Then I realise, I've left my lunch at home. I'm such an idiot. That's what I tell myself. Do I have enough money to buy lunch? No, I will go without. Work finishes, I lock up, it's dark. The only work I can find is casual, $26 an hour, no sick leave, no holiday pay, no superannuation. I work at great risk, but I want to work. I love work. I want to contribute. I don't want epilepsy to decide my future. So I keep showing up. I walk to the bus stop alone, then I have another seizure. My phone falls, I miss my bus, I get on the wrong one, stressed, anxious, embarrassed. Only then do I realise I've had another seizure. I wet myself. Where's my phone? I get off the bus. I catch another one back. My watch tells me where I stopped moving. My phone is lying in the gutter. I pick it up. I get on another bus. Thank God they're only 50 cents. I sit in the disabled seat and someone stares at me. You're not disabled. Look at you. I don't argue. I don't explain. How do you explain something that no one can see? Another aura, and now I'm frightened. I'm wondering whether another seizure is about to happen and whether anyone around me will know what's happening. How do I tell a stranger I'm about to have a seizure? I have epilepsy, because there is no warning. Then I remember I forgot to pick up my meds. Again, I get angry with myself. Leave it till tomorrow. My meds are costing $170 a month because I'm not eligible for a healthcare card. Eventually, I make it home and I'm exhausted. I take my medication. Again, I call Mum. She reminds me of everything I've forgotten today. Tomorrow she'll probably have to remind me it again. Finally, I go to bed restless. I hope tomorrow will be different, but with epilepsy, you never know. That isn't one bad day. That is my life every day. The hidden victims, families. Parents learn to sleep lightly because silence can be terrifying. We know what a seizure sounds like. We also know what no sound at all can mean. Siblings live with unanswered phone calls, unread messages, and the fear that every ambulance siren could be for someone they love. Every swimming pool, every beach, every staircase, every train platform, every road, every outing is assessed for risk. Every day ends with the same thought: will today be the day that something goes wrong? Once you know that hundreds of Australians die each year from epilepsy-related causes, including SUDEP, you can never unknow it. The closest we came to losing Max wasn't in a hospital, it was in the ocean. In 2020, on a quiet beach in New Zealand, Max had a tonic-clonic seizure while standing in the surf. He collapsed face first into the waves, his lungs filled with seawater. He was drowning. The person who recognised he was dying wasn't a lifeguard, it wasn't a doctor, it was his 10-year-old sister. She recognised the distinctive blue colour of his face and raised the alarm and saved his life. This is why this inquiry matters. When Max was 10, there was no roadmap. When Max was 17, there was no coordinated pathway. When Max was 20, we finally found the right team. Not because the system worked, because we eventually found our way through it. Only when we were told the truth. Max has drug-resistant epilepsy. 3 simple words: 10 years too late. Senators, you cannot give my son back the years that epilepsy has taken. You cannot give him back the memories that he has lost, or the jobs, or the opportunities, or the independence. You cannot cure every form of epilepsy, but you can change how Australia responds to it. Today you have the opportunity to change what epilepsy takes from the next family. 16 years ago, we walked into this journey frightened and completely alone. No diagnosis, no roadmap, no one to tell us what came next. It took 13 years to find the right system. No Australian family should have to wait that long. My hope is simple, that the next child who has their first seizure is recognised sooner, that the next parent is handed more than a prescription, that they are handed hope, knowledge, support and a pathway, and that no Australian living with epilepsy has to wonder whether they can afford the medication that keeps them alive. My son works because he wants to contribute, yet because he earns just above the low-income threshold, every prescription costs him full price instead of $7.70. He is penalised for choosing work. Medication is not a choice, it is survival. I hope that the next employer understands invisible disability, that the next teacher recognises a seizure, that the taxi driver knows the difference between someone who is intoxicated and someone whose brain is under attack. Because people with epilepsy deserve more than survival. They deserve safety, dignity and opportunity, and they deserve to believe that their country understands what they are living with. It is our families 16 years, if our family's 16 years of fear, of determination, of hope helps even one family avoid the journey we have travelled, then every step will have meant something. Thank you.